What's going on, guys? I've been getting a lot of suggestions on my other platforms for an updated settings video. I am a low sense smooth player. I go for high kill games and I go for high damage games. So as you guys can see, I'm a triple pred. I'm currently top 500 this season too, coming up on 100,000 kills and nearly a 7 KD. But that being said, let's get into the video. So first we're going to go over my FOV and the little settings first, and then we'll go to my sense, as I feel like a lot of people don't mess with these things and they really need to. I highly recommend 110 FOV, not just because it looks cleaner, simply just because you'll see more on your screen. Disable the ability scaling, which means whenever you're in a bloodhound ult, your FOV would go to 120 instead of 110, which then makes your sensitivity different to what you're used to. For the sprint view shake, I'd highly recommend changing it to minimal. It's basically when you're running, your screen will shake, but if you change it to minimal, it will minimize the amount of shaking the game does. Okay, so for gameplay, I highly recommend turning off your crosshair damage feedback, which is basically the little X that's on your screen. It blocks off the iron sights and stuff like that, and it'll clog up your screen. For my damage numbers, I have stacking, simply just because it's easier to read. And the rest, I just recommend doing whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, so for controller, I play on the default stick layout. Tap to use and reload. I like hold to crouch because I'm a claw player. I know a lot of really good players like toggle, so that's personal preference. I have the survival slot button off, simply just because I like to spin the kunai or spin my Bangalore heirloom. I like my menu cursor speed high, so I can armor swap fast. And obviously for my look sensitivity, it's 4:4 on a classic dead zone. I also go back and forth between steady. Classic is just a little tiny bit faster than steady, so if you're not comfortable with a faster sense, then I'd recommend steady. I have no look dead zones, and my per optic settings, they're all the same. Like, I've turned them off, so it's just 4:4. For movement, dead zone is small, inverted look is off, and obviously I don't like to play on vibration. I do have these custom look controls set up. I do use them every now and then. This is just more for the smooth type of gameplay if anybody is interested. I play on customized, and it is a very unique customized button layout, simply just because I don't use paddles, I don't use control freaks, I use a completely normal controller, but I do play claw, and everything is a little different. So as you guys can see, LB is my jump, just because my finger is always on the trigger, so I can hit LB pretty easily. My sprint is binded to up, simply just because I use auto sprint, so I don't need a sprint bind anymore. So I've cleared up the left stick for my health. This is the one thing I highly recommend people using. If the rest is too complicated, I highly recommend turning on auto sprint and changing your bind to heal on the left stick. It takes a while to getting used to, but it is so helpful. You never have to leave that left stick. You can always be moving, you can be bunny hopping, you'll be doing so much stuff with that free slot. I have grenades on RB like it would be in Call of Duty, so instead of having my melee on the right stick or my crouch, I have my tactical ability, which would be smoke, phase, simply just because then my two thumbs never have to leave my stick at all. So I will always have my two thumbs on the two sticks that are required to move. My A is my reload, my pickup, my revive, simply just because it's easier to reach than X, like it's just closer to the bottom of the controller where my hand would be resting. My X is melee because you don't really use it all the time, but it's still useful, so you just swap A and X. I have my ping where the heal would be originally, I'm pretty sure, so where you heal now if you're playing on the default settings is where I would be pinging, because pinging is helpful, but you don't need it in a fight, so you can move it away. And the rest is pretty much normal. Honestly, if you guys think these are too complicated, don't just push out of there just because you see me using them. Honestly, if anything to take from this video is try out the sensitivity, and of course, try the health and shield kit, which is basically taking bats on the left stick. Make sure you guys drop a sub, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.